It's a beautiful day in Dallas, Texas. So nice, I think we should play two. As a great Dallasite, Ernie Banks once said, we don't have time to play two, but we've got time to talk about two CS games. That's Championship Series games. That's coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast. If you've seen any of Kike Hernandez's post-game interviews, you realize he might use a stronger word on that headline than but. But we won't. We'll keep it somewhat clean here for the DLLS Rangers Podcast. John Radigan here with Abby Jones and Jeff Wilson. We've got the prophet Elijah Smith pulling double duty over there. You talk about playing two. He's producing two, so we appreciate Elijah very much, and we appreciate you being with us. BC, see you already. Coop, thanks for being here. We want all of you to join. We want all of you to chat. We want all of you to like us. We want all of you to subscribe. We're almost to 10,000 subscribers.
Woohoo.
We crossed the 9,000, right, Elijah?
On the YouTube,
yeah. We got past 9,000, so we want to get to 10. So let's do that. Join in with us. Yeah, let's subscribe. You might notice some beautiful
some bling on the set.
To the set here. And
that's right.
That's all thanks to Jeff and our buddy Brendan Boyd, who helped deliver it. But really, thanks to Marcus Simeon and Josh Jung, Jeff.
Yeah, Do It For Durrett is John was part of the very first one. Wish we'd never had it, of course. We'd rather have Richard back, but this is our 10th year now. And the Rangers have always been gracious in getting us items to auction off. And the way the season unfolded, Josh wasn't there, and we didn't get anything from Josh. So I stopped by this morning and got us some stuff. And this is Marcus Simeon, some autographed cleats, brand new out of the box. So we can talk about it a little bit later in our last segment, but these are pretty sweet items.
Yeah,
as always,
nice.
Do It For Durrett's auction is unmatched.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and by the way, these are items you can get. But we'll get more of that a little later on in the program. We do start, though.
Which means stick around.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Stay for
tease.
the
they call
whole
that a tease,
hour.
right, John?
And you know what? Since we started a little late, we may go a little longer than normal. You don't know us. I mean, we may just haul off.
You're not our boss.
Yeah, you're not the boss of us. So, but man, that
Elijah rolled his eyes.
NLCS, yeah. The prophets over here going, oh yeah, they're gonna go longer, right? Maybe I can produce another show yet. That NLCS game last night, so funny how, we had kind of just started to believe a hype that really didn't exist about the Mets. I don't know. I was just feeling negative about the chances of the Dodgers all of a sudden. And they said, fear not, Rads.
It's
Fear
a
not.
shutout or nothing.
Yeah, that's
Apparently.
about right.
Yeah. I mean, if trends hold, then the Mets are going to have a cozy win today. So we'll see what happens. But it was pretty... another systematic, just kind of a destruction of the Mets, and the pitching was great, and Shohei, of course, hit the home run, but that Kike Hernandez,
oh my gosh,
he's ridiculous.
And that was the hit, that was the moment of the game that Dave Roberts was talking about after the game, that everybody was talking about even during the game. I mean, that's what turned that game around. They kind of, as Robert said in the post game, we kind of slopped together 2 runs, right? But that's not enough, at least normally. I mean, except when you shut teams out every time. But you're not comfortable, right?
Right. You're
not comfortable with a 2-0 lead. So for Kike to do what he did, but the amazing thing is he's now tied Babe Ruth. I mean, this is a guy, one of the reasons, he says anyway, that he waved out towards right field after he hit that home run was to wave at the bullpen guys because he's such a utility guy. He said, "I'm one of them. I pitched 4 1/3 this year."
Yeah.
He's a everyman guy. He's a utility guy all year long, and he comes to October and he's Ruthian. He's Mr. October.
Yeah. And you need those guys. We can take a look at the guys that did and didn't produce. I think that we had the conversation of, hey, if your star guys, if your best players
Right.
aren't the best players, do you win? We can talk a little bit more about the numbers in a second, but no, Kike stepped up and they needed him to in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, and this point was made by the announcers. He might not even be playing if Miguel Rojas were healthy.
Right.
It's just one of those, I don't know, you want to call it good fortune?
Yeah.
What you want to call it, but a fortuitous break. And you have this veteran guy who they've had before, who's excelled in the postseason, and he's back doing it again. He's a part-time player.
Right.
And it's pretty cool. Now, I you mentioned the language that he can be a little strong with the language, which, I've heard all of us cuss. The crotch bump is a concern. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, I saw that.
Maybe it was after game 1, or maybe it was against the Padres. He had homered and he crotch
It's the
bumped
new MLB
somebody.
logo, I've heard.
My son noticed it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think they play this weekend. And I'm concerned that there's going to be a crotch bump.
Yeah.
You mean it's like a thing now?
It might be a thing. I don't know. I'm going to be looking out for it this weekend, but I'm going to really encourage him to not do it.
I thought it was hilarious.
It seems like a dangerous, like a slippery slope, right?
Well,
for a male, right?
Yeah, it could be a problem.
I just don't know if that's an area you want to.
They might
And
need
what-
blue
and
chew
inadvertently
later.
bump.
And what if the guy's wearing a cup and
You hear me? I said they might need blue chew later.
They might. But like, what if like the one guy's wearing a cup and the other guy's not wearing a cup?
That's my point.
It could,
Oh,
it's a
That's
problem.
where it could.
the
That's where
big
it could be
questions
dicey.
that we've got
especially
here.
for the guy not wearing the cup. So I'm just saying, not everybody wears cups.
All right, I'm going to take it back to baseball, fellas.
Come
That's
on, we're
okay.
talking cups here.
Anyway, no, my point was that Ohtani went 1 for 4, Betts 1 for 4, Freeman 1 for 5, Hernandez 0 for 5. So it's like, if those guys don't do anything, do you expect Max Muncy to go 2 for 2 and hit a home run, and Will Smith 2 for 4, Kike 2 for 5? I thought that was a big positive for the Dodgers for these kind of guys to show up in the big moments.
Yeah.
Max Muncy is really good in the postseason too.
Yeah.
he
Right.
is.
A killer boy, went to Baylor.
Yep. And I guess now, to answer the Kike part, we should. But no, even going into the game, even though he had 14 postseason home runs going into this game, he wouldn't have been a guy I'd pick. He's at the bottom of the order.
Right. He's not batting cleanup.
No.
He's down at the bottom of the lineup for a reason, but he just keeps running into these balls. So, maybe they pitch him more carefully. Maybe not that they aren't, but
Yeah.
it's still, it's pretty
amazing.
remarkable.
And
for this
and by
guy.
the way, doesn't Shohei's hit count for 2? I mean, it's Shohei, right?
Yeah.
But I love they had to review his home run, which was monstrous. I mean,
towering.
it was towering. It was beautiful. But
you need the
have the
verbiage?
CJ. You have the CJ,
our
our
good
buddy
old
CJ
friend,
Nikowski.
CJ Nikowski. Hello. I'll interact. Hello, replay room. How can we help you? Yeah, we need to review the Ohtani home run. Who? Shohei Ohtani. Maybe you've heard of him. Oh, yeah, that was a home run. Well, do you want to take a look and review? Nope. We're going to check.
Yeah.
It's confirmed.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah, no questions
Yeah,
asked.
that's-
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because I as soon as he hit it, I was like, well, they got to review that.
Yeah.
I thought,
I thought it went over the foul
I thought
pole.
it went
Yeah.
right over. But if
Yeah.
it went right over, it's still a home
It's
run.
still fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But
right.
I thought it was
It's
really
questionable.
close. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the thing. Not that many guys hit it over foul poles.
Right.
But Shohei does.
I'm
and
taking
did.
you back to your children days. Do you remember Tarzan?
Uh-huh.
When the elephant steps on the water and she's like, looks pretty questionable to me.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember that. I watched it with my kids. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's funny.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
It did look questionable. But you know what? They did review it. They did say it's a home run. I'm not
Counts.
sure if that call went exactly as CJ suggested, but it might have.
This
And
team's not even in it. It doesn't
again,
matter.
what we noticed about that was what? There were runners on base, right? He can't hit when runners aren't on
the
base.
streak
And
stays alive.
They're all kind of laughing about that.
That was my first thought, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
This is based on what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, because when Kike hit the home run and Shohei Judge. Shohei was the next hitter.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I kind of messed that up because I needed to be on base for him. But I went and hauled off and hit a home run. So, and then the next time there were runners on base for Shohei, and boom, there you go.
And let's BC's stat. I love him stat checking us. Let's see. We got Dodgers averaging 5.5 runs a game, allowing 3.5, and then 3 MVPs, only hitting 227. 702
with a 702. Wow.
OPS. Well, let's take a look at the numbers from last night because we've got them for you. Is again disheartening for the New York Mets. 4 for 30, a 133 average, 13 strikeouts, 8 left on base, 3 walks. That's tough.
Right. And that's why the very next thing we have to talk about is Bueller's day off, which he didn't. Ferris Bueller
I was gonna make
or
that.
Walker
I was going to
in
make
this
that
case.
joke too.
Yeah, he didn't have a day off, man. But he only pitched 4 innings, and the other guys on the Dodgers felt bad that they couldn't have, he couldn't have gone a little longer. They couldn't have scored a little more so that he could have gotten the win in that game. But you know what? Walker didn't care. He pitched very well in that game. He knows it. He didn't pitch well really all season. He knows it. He didn't pitch well at the beginning of the game in the NLDS, but he liked the way he finished that game. And he felt like there was some momentum carried forward into this game, and he looked great for 4 innings.
Yeah, his curveball was really, really good.
Yeah,
and that'll take you a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And but he was also doing well with his fastball, commanding it, and yeah, I mean this guy's really, really good.
Yeah,
before the injury. So and it does take time.
Yeah.
Everybody it's not like you just come back and you're good. Those guys are the exception.
Yeah. There's not many of them either.
Right.
Really.
Right. And and it used to be the command's not very good, but then it's like, well, these guys pick up velocity. But you have to be a student when you're recovering. You got to work on your mechanics. I really, like Jacob deGrom, I think is going to be fine because he dived into his mechanics.
Sure.
And when they're throwing off a flat ground, they can't get on the mound, but they can still work on stuff. And so I'm not saying Walker Buehler wasn't doing that, but some guys, it just takes a while.
Interestingly, to that point a little bit, he switched to the stretch after 2 hitters, right? And asked about after the game, he said, it's cold here. He said, I like pitching in the cold, which is probably not that unusual. Pitchers have an advantage when it's cold because it's harder to hit. It's hard on your hands.
It's hard to grip, though.
Yeah, it is hard to grip. That's right. But he likes pitching in the cold. But he said because it was cold, this mound was really hard. And he said, when I'm in the windup, I move my right foot. And on the hard mound, it started spinning all over the place. He goes, so I just went to the stretch and seems like it was a good decision.
Yeah.
And it was. And that the inning where they had the bases loaded, was it bases loaded 1 out when Lindor came up? I think it was bases loaded 1 out, and he got Lindor.
Yes,
on a curveball.
Yeah, that was it. The big out of the game for the Dodgers pitchers, and the guy who would win the MVP if Shohei Ohtani was still in the American League.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, these veteran guys know when to make a pitch, how to make a pitch, how to get out of trouble. Garrett Cole the other night, he wasn't great, but he limited the damage.
Yeah,
and that's just kind of what veteran guys know how to do. And Walker Buehler, even all that we just said about him not being as good, still knows how to make a pitch.
Yeah,
right.
He sure does.
And we talked about, the importance of, just this series and where it's at. I do think it's still really interesting that when it goes back home in the postseason, the home team doesn't really have the advantage. I mean, they lose 50% of the time. So I'm not sure if the Mets were holding on to that too much, but it is interesting because had been so long since there had been this kind of postseason game there.
Yeah, it had. And, as was evidenced by the emotion in the ballpark that was being shown by the Mets fans who were really on the edge of their seat and really loud and really kind of what we expected. And walking off the field in one of the walk-off interviews, Kike was asked about that, and he said there's nothing greater than silencing a crowd. And I thought that was the most amazing thing. Like when that home run left, and it barely got out, and he didn't care about that, but it barely got out. When it left, the ball was caught, Nobody moved. Nobody reacted. Nobody did that. It took every bit of emotion out of that stadium, and you silenced that huge, boisterous, New York crowd.
Right, and it was. They were both, the hit ahead of him extended the inning, and it was a 2-out hit, and then another one, 2-out runs. Man, those are disheartening, And Reed Garrett, the pitcher, he came up through the Rangers system, never pitched for the Rangers. I think he took minor league free agency. He's had a really nice season, but just made a bad pitch.
Yeah. Didn't work.
Yep.
Bad pitch, wrong time, and it gave the Dodgers a lead that they would not lose. They win it by a final of 8-0. Again, a blowout, shutout fashion. So that's it on the National League Championship Series. We may give you a preview a little later. We're also going to preview. For now. That's right. So we're going to also preview the American League Championship Series. It's a doubleheader today, so they will play two, as nice as this weather is here in Dallas. We talk about that and show you why Jeff also has a beautiful Mike Trout card with him. It's all coming up on the DLLS Rangers Podcast. But now I want to tell you, and Abby kind of previewed it, fellas, crotch bump or not, you may need Blue Chew. And as you get older, you likely will need Blue Chew. And remember, they talk about that first impression. How about a lasting impression? And let's not forget, this process for which you might need Blue Chew in the bedroom is not just about you. There's more than one person involved in the process, and that other person might appreciate you using Blue Chew as much as you do appreciate that. So do yourself a favor. Blue Chew's great because it's an online service, and it is all made in America, and the ingredients are all natural. It has the same sort of effects as Viagra and Cialis and those type of things. So do yourself a favor and get some Blue Chew. I've got to put my glasses on for this last part. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Blue Chew free when you use the promo code ALLCITY at checkout, paying just $5 for the shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code ALLCITY to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Fellas, I don't know if you know this about me, but I do like to cook.
Oh.
I love to cook when I get to go home for a holiday and use all my mom's really nice, fancy dishes and ingredients and make a lot of things like homemade. But in the real world, I've got like 30 minutes to make dinner sometimes.
Yep.
So HelloFresh is the go-to because it's healthy, it's affordable, it's quick, it's easy, it's pretty user-friendly. They give you all the instructions, they portion it out correctly. Also, I live alone. I'm a single girl. Like, I don't want to eat, leftovers for 6 days.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want a new taste. So this is going to be the best option for you. We actually have a discount. You can get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com. That's a pretty good deal. 7 boxes for new subscribers only. Plans may vary. And you can use DLLS Rangers code. The code is free Rangers. So get 10 free meals from HelloFresh today.
That's fantastic. My daughter uses HelloFresh
I'm
with her husband all the time. And
I want free dinner and lunch.
I ordered my HelloFresh yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm anxious to ask them to deliver it Monday. I don't know if that'll be the day.
Rads, I've got to send you my cooking playlist. I've got Elvis on there. I've got just old 50s country. It's great.
That's fantastic.
Do you have any 50s country?
Ooh.
Any Marty Robbins?
I don't know about that.
El Paso?
I'll look into it.
Pretty good stuff. That's old school.
Paso.
That's old school. HelloFresh, a new sponsor. We love having them, and we love having the opportunity now to taste some of that food. I told people my daughter uses it with her husband all the time, but when Dad visits, they don't cook HelloFresh for me. They wait for Dad to take them out to dinner. You see what I'm saying?
I was about to say, they make a nice reservation for you, Rads.
Yeah, we make reservations. That's exactly.
And oops, I forgot my wallet.
Yeah. Well, now that the microwave is working
upstairs,
we're
in better shape.
Yeah, I don't need to be spending $15 a day on lunch.
No.
So if I can cut this down,
bring some nice. You could
bring a nice healthy meal
from a little HelloFresh. You can bring it in a little Tupperware thing.
So we're gonna look into it as well after we get our samples and try them out.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about first of all, let's do that preview on the NLCS. We've got the pitching matchup for tonight. Today's. I forget which order. Anyway, the pitchers for the game in the National League Championship Series. There you go. You see it. Yamamoto getting another start, and Jose Quintana for the Mets. And now, suddenly, as we get to Game 4, it's huge for the Mets. They win, they basically guarantee 6, right? They lose, you don't know. You could lose this thing, at home.
This is a big one.
Yeah.
Game 4 is a big one. Kind of like, when it's 4-3 in tennis, that game there.
Yeah.
If you get broken, you're down 5-3, and the other guy's serving for win. So this is a big one, and you got a steady hand if you're the Mets. Jose Quintana, again, he's a lefty, so you would think in theory he'd be able to neutralize some of those Dodgers big bats, Ohtani, Freeman, Gavin Lux, Max Muncy. So there's 4 at least. And then Yamamoto, maybe he's got some confidence now after what he did in that Game 5 start against the Padres.
Yep.
It was 5 scoreless innings, but he looked like the guy who the Dodgers were expecting him to be this season. So pretty interesting pitching matchup, because Yamamoto kind of neutralizes Alonso and Vientos, and so we'll see. But yeah, this is a big one for the Mets, and if they feel like it's a must-win situation, then they might not have. They might go to the bullpen early. Try to leverage. Get an early lead. Maybe they go with their big guys. So we'll see what happens. But it is a night game. It's the night game, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So the Mets haven't lost consecutive home games against the same opponent since July. So that is working a little bit
That's
in their
interesting.
favor. Maybe they can, stick to the trend of this series of the flip-flop. But no, it's a very important game. You don't want to lose this momentum. Momentum is huge in this series. The Dodgers have pitched 4 shutouts, though, in the past 5 games. They're actually 1 shy away from a postseason record that the Cleveland Indians set in 2016. I think that Dodgers, we've been talking a lot about history that they've been making in the postseason. The Mets want to shut that down. They did it the last time with the scoreless consecutive innings. So I expect the Mets to, probably pick up a little bit where they left off. And Lindor was 0 for 4, Alonso 0 for 4. So you're looking for those guys just to connect.
Yeah, and on the pregame show, I was watching the pregame show on FS1 yesterday, and they were talking and did a whole feature on the magical Mets. And I think yesterday might have been the anniversary date of when the 69 Mets
the
won.
Amazing Mets.
Yeah, the Amazing Mets.
It was the anniversary.
Yeah, well, yesterday was the anniversary. And so they did a retrospective on just how there's always seemingly some magic, was their word, magic involved with the Mets. And Tom Rinaldi's great. He did a great piece and very well written and all that stuff. Then they came back to the set, and the guys are kind of weighing in on the magic that the Mets have experienced from Grimace, right, being one of the new mascot who's so, inspiring, and from all the things that they do and all the things that they've accomplished, especially late in the season. And Jeter, man, he just shut it down. Said, they ain't magic. They're good. He goes, Lindor's good.
Yeah.
He said, Alonso's good. He said, they're a good team. There's no magic involved in this baseball game, and certainly there wasn't any last night. But it does beg the question, will there be some of that sort of magical feel? Because if there is, that magic can be somewhat contagious, and it can propel you not only into a Game 5, but maybe beyond.
I was going to say, something about this series makes me feel like it might go further than we thought.
Yeah.
I think the first game, I was like, oh, this is a wrap.
Yeah, blowout.
LA's head into the World Series. But I don't know. Something about this Mets team, I feel like they may have their off day, but they're not going to give up.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep fighting. So I'm excited for the Mets tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
A note about the 69 World Series, Nolan Ryan was on that team.
That's right. Yeah.
He got the save in Game 4.
Yeah.
They won in 5, beat the Orioles. But, I mean, everybody, Nolan Ryan pitched for 26 years.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even his rookies. He might have technically been a rookie, but he had debuted, I think, in 67. And anyway, but yeah, he comes in a big spot. The bases were loaded. 7th inning, he got out of it. Tommy Agee made a really good catch to help him out. But yeah, I mean, that's 2 1/3 innings.
That's Nolan's only World Series appearance, which is pretty amazing. And I know one of the things that just kind of gnawed at him, certainly throughout his career, he would have liked to have had some more reps, if you will, in the postseason. So then you've got the other game, which features another New York team, but they are headed to Cleveland. There you go. It's the New York Yankees against the Guardians of Cleveland, and that one is the later afternoon game, and it features Schmidt against Boyd, and Clark Schmidt and Matthew Boyd, both go into this game. Boyd feels good no matter what happens, so he goes in feeling pretty confident. He's another one with a lot of experience.
Yeah, and coming off of injury, he's probably fresh.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't matter with the Indians Guardians we've seen. Doesn't matter. I wonder how they would treat Corey Kluber these days. Corey Kluber, when you go back to 2016, was unbelievable.
Right.
And how short leash on him at that time? No, but they don't have a Corey Kluber. They have Matthew Boyd, who's done some things, but a left-hander against the Yankees. He's got to face Judge and Stanton. Yeah. That's kind of perilous.
Stanton did get moved to the cleanup spot as well.
And Volpe, I mean, those two guys. I saw a pretty interesting note, and I meant to put it in our chat. They've batted 8 times apiece, Judge and Stanton.
Okay,
and they've both faced 7 different pitchers.
Wow,
that's unbelievable.
It really is.
I mean, that tells you how the Guardians are using their bullpen,
right?
But it's hard, man, when you see 7 different arms,
right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting, and hopefully not a new trend in baseball, as we've talked about. We don't need to change pitchers quite that often. Let's let guys go 3 times through an order. But anyway, this is going to be an interesting game. We've talked a lot about the Cleveland bullpen, right? Because they've been probably the best in baseball all season long. Guess what? In the postseason, they're not quite as good as the Yankees bullpen. Yankees bullpen in this postseason, 0.77 ERA. They've just been ridiculously good. And really, it's like both teams realize pretty much just got to get through 5, right?
Yeah.
If we can get through 5, we got, especially the Guardians, they have 4 arms they're completely confident with, and Chase and Heron and obviously Clase.
Gaddis.
And Gaddis. Yeah, that's what I was forgetting. Yeah. So, I mean, they feel great. And of course, we were talking off the air before we got here about the Weaver thing, but also, they've got a kind of they've got a Robertson Yates punch in the back end of that lineup.
Yeah, they do, with Clay Holmes and Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver actually wasn't even a closer until September, but he's, showed up for this Yankees team. I think that the Yankees have a lot riding on these 2 games in Cleveland. They are 2 wins away from going to the World Series for the first time since 2009.
Yeah.
I think that the Yankees can get it done. But no, Luke Weaver's been amazing. He has 1.29 ERA, 9 strikeouts, 4 saves, 6 appearances. We were talking about just the combination of Clay Holmes and Luke Weaver, and Clay's been, unhittable and hasn't allowed an earned run. Or maybe he did. It was the other night. It was the home run for Jose Ramirez, but that's the only one that he's given up the postseason. And then Luke has been instrumental to all of their wins. He's gotten all of the saves in those situations. So the bullpen has been huge, especially, with the struggles of the order that you really didn't anticipate to see too much. But I do think that is maybe going to change a little bit today with Austin Wells. He's out of the game today. So Stanton's going to be in that cleanup spot. So, you're getting a 1, 2, 3 punch of Soto, Judge, and Stanton. And I just don't know if Matthew Boyd
is anybody
or anybody, would really be able to handle that.
Well, down the stretch, the big concern with the Yankees was their bullpen.
Yes.
Because Clay Holmes was teetering as the closer. He gave up a the walk-off grand slam that Wyatt Langford hit.
Yep.
That was off of Clay Holmes. And
Yep.
it was, that's when they really were like, all right, we got to start thinking about this. And then it parallels the Rangers last postseason because
It
that
does.
was the concern. And then the bullpen was so good, not 0.77 good, but really, really good.
Yeah.
I found this one stat though that I thought was interesting. So everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Aaron Judge striking out." Blah blah blah. Even though Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Stanton, they've combined to slash 279, going 17 for 61 with 4 homers, 12 RBI, and 5 postseason games this series. The trio has 6 more RBI than the Guardians have scored.
Wow.
I'm doing the math in my head. That's a
So-
938 OPS, which is pretty good.
That's not bad.
So-
yeah. You like that?
Maybe they're not clicking exactly how you thought you know, with bombs left and right, but they're still being very effective.
They're still more effective than the entire lineup from the other side. So there you go. That's a little preview of that one. We're going to talk baseball cards next, and I see Coop it is that has the rookie card of Nolan Ryan from '68 with Jerry Kuzman. I remember seeing that card. Yeah, I remember seeing that. So good for you, Coop. We appreciate
I think Johnny
that.
Bench's rookie card is also.
We're going to talk about some other rookie cards. Another rookie card that Jeff has. And so does a Rangers player that he's very proud of. We'll talk about that. And also, we'll get to some more about Do It for Durrett and more as we continue on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Is it FOCO time?
It's
It's FOCO
Oh,
time.
man, I love FOCO. You know, if you don't know what FOCO.com, FOCO.com, it's sports gear. I mean, it's made for the fans. They have helped us design both of our sets.
Yeah.
So we appreciate them for that. But with FOCO, you can get fitted in the best sports gear around: hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. Jackets, beachwear, overalls for the gardeners out there. There's something for almost every occasion. So check out FOCO.com. Again, that's FOCO.com. Or click the link in the description of our show, which is in there. For all non-presale items, use the promo code DLS10 for 10% off. And we thank FOCO for their support.
Yep. And if you're wearing all that FOCO gear, let's say to a game, or let's say hunting or fishing or sailing, or you can do that with the help of a Rugged Road cooler. There's not much better than the Rugged Road cooler. Abs kind of has decided this is going to be that beautiful cooler you see on the screen there. Might just be, well, I'm not going to say who it's a present for because sometimes they watch.
Sometimes they watch.
Yep. So I'm not going to say, but it's a great cooler. It's a great gift for anybody, or it's a great gift for yourself. These are lightweight. They're floatable. They're so well constructed. We've got one that we've all been able to, hold and touch and grab. And I haven't tossed it in a deep pool or anything. I got to take it to the house and just toss it in the pool and see what happens. But it's floatable. I mean, I believe them. They say it floats. It floats. It's Rugged Road. It's fantastic. It keeps your drinks and your snacks and everything you need all in one place and all at a perfect temperature. So we want you to go to Rugged Road and use the promo code DLLS. You get 10% off your Rugged Road.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice. So sports cards, man.
They're nostalgic.
They are. And yet they're now, like back in the day, that Jerry Kuzman, Nolan Ryan one, it was like, we don't know if either one of these guys are going to be worth a darn. We'll throw them both on the same card.
And I don't think that anybody looked at it that way. It
No.
was probably just like, how many of those cards ended up in bicycle spokes?
Right.
Yeah. So it's,
That's funny.
But, so Josh Jung, you tell the story because I'm not as keen on the details.
Oh, the story's
as you are.
2 seconds. I was on Instagram yesterday, and Josh Jung decided to put a story that he got Mike Trout's. He got 3 Mike Trout rookie cards. 1 was signed. I think we might have a photo of it here shortly. Elijah will pop it up there when we get it. But yeah, he.
There, okay, so there.
starting a collection,
I know a
guess.
little more. There was a deal during the last road trip where he and Mike Trout had a deal with Topps,
There you go.
where they were going to go and open some, super packs or something like that. But
one of those.
I think if a video isn't already out, a video is coming out.
Oh, like a roulette?
it's of Mike Trout and Josh
An
Young.
MLB type thing.
Opening things.
Yeah.
And I know Josh was very excited about it, but I never followed up and asked him what the haul was. And my gosh, to get 3 Trout rookies.
And he got Mike to sign one of them.
No, it came.
I think
It was
came
autographed.
Came
the
that
deal.
way. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and already graded. Gem mint cards that
They're
are worth
snazzy.
a ton of money.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Now mine is the one of the photo that we just had, the third one, the one at the bottom. It's,
You have the same thing?
Yeah, it's the 2011 Topps update. His is graded by PSA at a 9, so that's a pretty good card. Mine is graded by Beckett at 9.5.
You got a 9.5. Take
So,
that, Josh
9.5.
Young.
It depends. Like some people think that Beckett has kind of taken over the grading world. I don't know. I don't follow it that closely anymore. But I had a friend who did a lot of stuff with Beckett. And
Hold it up a little more.
He just
Elijah's gonna
included
get a tight shot of it.
He just included it in his
he's got to get the zoom lens on
stuff
there.
one day.
Beautiful.
But Anthony Andro gave me this card before it took off in value.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have given. I know
Anthony
him.
wanted my son
Yeah.
Henry to have a bunch of rookie cards, and I'll be darned if this wasn't included in it. And then the value just kept going up and up as he continued to. Let me see, what's the best way to turn this?
There you
That's
go.
good.
Now you have no glare on it. That's beautiful.
Well,
Look at that
I'm
bad
terrible
boy.
at it. Hang on. There we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so Anthony was like, he reminds me very often that he's given me a card that at one point was valued at over
Very
$2,000 during the pandemic. Now, I haven't checked eBay lately, but it's probably around 900 or 9 to
Still.
1,200
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Not going to be selling it. It is not going to be at Do It For Durrett. It's in the vault at the Wilson household. But anyway, I saw that and I was like, well, I'm gonna show up Josh.
Hey, y'all want to know how much my dad's card is autographed?
Nice.
Tell us.
99 cents.
Come on.
Swear. He has a really funny video from Fox Sports Detroit, and I wasn't alive, but you guys might remember this. Like, apparently at the games, they had, I guess, similar to like an ATM machine, but it was like in a computer,
Okay.
and you could like pay $1 and like hop on the internet at the ballpark.
You know, we always had connectivity, so I'm not sure that's anything
Well,
I
he
would
had
have
this
noticed.
thing, and they did a little skit, and he looked up his baseball card on eBay in real time. He's like, "Oh, look, it's 99 cents." Anybody? He was like, "I think I'm gonna bid $3 just to feel better."
Yeah.
He won his own cards.
I love the self-deprecating nature of your dad and you guys
it's
when you
golden.
pulled out the hats. You know?
Okay, those are my favorite thing.
Oh
I
my
wear
gosh,
those
that was great.
all
That was
the
such a
time.
fun moment.
and the bobblehead. I have his bobblehead too. So if I ask if I can do something and he says no, I'm like,
Yes,
he said yes.
I
and
saw
I'm
you.
going with that one.
I saw you say yes right there. That's so fantastic.
stuff.
I love that. And you know what? You have to be right that way. I mean,
Yeah.
there's really only, there's two ways to be. You can let that eat you up,
Or you can
or
like,
you can look at it the way your dad does,
Yeah,
which
make
is fantastic, and the way you guys do too, because it's easy for kids to get angry at people doing those things or saying those things about their dad, but you're like, let's have fun with it. He's having fun. Let's have fun.
they don't
Yeah.
call him the roller coaster for nothing.
That's right. I love that.
Sometimes
and look,
good,
that's
sometimes not.
everybody that's ever played that position, except maybe Mariano Rivera.
Or
you
like
know.
Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah, Clase's on a path.
There's not
isn't
going to
he?
be a trade classe.com.
Yeah, no, he's on a path, absolutely. But yeah, so and now let's talk more about the Do It For Durrett. Let's tell people,
Yeah.
because they can bid on this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to the help of Next Step Recruiting, they've kind of adopted us as their favorite charity, and why wouldn't you? You know,
Right.
I mean, it's such a good cause. You know, the first event that John was the MC/auctioneer for in 2010 or 2014 at Billy Bob's, we raised $200,000, but it was
Wow.
only for Kelly.
That's right. For the family.
The two kids and the bun she had in the oven. And, we wanted to keep it going and built a nice community. We loved the feedback and people had a good time at the concert. And Kelly hasn't gotten a dime since. You know, we of course we asked for her blessing to do this. She's a member of the board. There's 6 people on the board, I think. John Daniels, Emily Jones,
Kelly,
Anthony Andro, myself, Ashley Ernice, and Greg Denman from Next Step. So maybe that's 7. I don't know. I can't count.
That was 7. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so we continued it, and we've raised more than $2 million.
Wow.
In the 10 years.
It's amazing.
We've helped out hundreds of families.
Yeah, and remind them.
It's for families who go through what Kelly went through when Richard Durrett, who everybody who's followed the Rangers for a while, remember not just the Rangers, he could cover anything.
He covered the Stars for a while.
Everything.
Yeah.
Richard was 38. He went to pick up his sister-in-law's car. His family was in Anaheim at Disney World. He was going to join them the next day, or Disneyland in California. Anyway, he's jogging up to get he was in great shape, jogging up to get the car, and he had everybody says the initial report was an aneurysm, but actually he had his heart was too big, so his heart gave out. And stunning, shocking deal. We were in Oakland. I'll never forget. John Blake told me he's not exactly his bedside manner isn't very good. So I told Anthony, and it just was an awful night. Darvish pitched. That's all I remember about the game.
Yeah.
None of us slept that night. We all kind of wrote stories about it. Anyway, from that terrible ordeal has come this great charity that helps families that are going through the same thing. We've helped 3, I think, just in the last week. And so our 10-year event, it's, I don't want to say it's a celebration, but it's a milestone event where we're the legacy. And so we're going to have a golf tournament in the morning, and then we're going to have Josh Abbott Band at Texas Live that night. Tickets are available if you go to doitfordurrett.com. You can still get in the golf tournament, which is going to be at Grapevine Golf Course, 27-hole course. It's a fun little course.
It is.
Mike Maddox loves it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mike Maddox is going to play. We're going to have some former Rangers who are in there, so you never know who you're going to get grouped with. But it's a good way to help out the cause. And we have an online auction, and I picked up these 2 items today from Brandon Boyd, the Rangers clubhouse manager. Those are the Simeon cleats, fresh out of a box. You can see they're autographed. Each one's autographed right there on the swoosh. And then this Josh Jung bat. It's not game used, but you can see there's the blue autograph is the fresh autograph. The black one is the one that's
very similar
carved into the bat when it's created for him. So anyway, these items will be part of the auction. The auction goes live in a week. I'm going to be writing a story very soon about this that'll have all the information in it. It'll be a free story, not a diehard, so Ben and Coop can read it for free, even though they're diehard members. But anyway, it's kick-ass stuff. And if you go to the event, that's where we have our live auction at night, November 8th, Hall of Fame trip, where you get the White Gloves tour, not just get to walk through the hall like the common man. You go back and you get to hold Babe Ruth's bat.
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig's glove, things like that. MLB All-Star Game trip, Pat Courtney with MLB Communications has been a stalwart in providing that every year since we started. So come check us out.
Amazing.
Yeah, doitfordurrett.com. You can find all the information you need. And then, want to see you there.
Yeah, they're on Twitter too, so you can find them on
I love
Twitter.
Coop's comment on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we do celebrate them every day, and we miss them and
remember
to this
him.
day.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's keeping. Richard...
I linked to a story the other day that Richard had written for ESPN Dallas, and it was when the Rangers agreed to sign Darvish. I needed a story because we didn't have one at DLLS because it was 14 years ago or 13 years ago. But I found one from ESPN, and sure enough, Richard had written it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. So that's a great cause. And you'll have a great time, I promise you, and you'll raise money for a great cause. So we appreciate you. We appreciate Jeff. Emily, John Daniels, and of course Kelly Durrett, who she's doing well.
Oh yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good, yeah.
Owen's driving now. Owen
Oh
has his
my
driver's
gosh,
license.
that's
Unbelievable.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's great. Okay, so anyway, that we'll keep you updated as we get a little closer to that event too. Because
yeah,
it's
and we
coming
may
up.
have John Daniels or Emily come on and talk
Oh,
about
nice.
it. Yeah,
That'd be
That'd be
great.
great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So, very good. That's the Do It for Durrett news. We come back. We talk a little bit more about these games that are coming up, and also a little bit more about what's been happening. It's been somewhat historic in this postseason. We take a look at the numbers and do some comparisons next. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast.
Be like our very best friends who are on the show all the time, Ben and Coop. Become a diehard.
Yes.
It's pretty nifty. You get a free shirt every single year. The membership's $79.99. If you do the math, it's like $40 with the t-shirt. So you're saving 20% off of merch. You're saving 20% on events when we do stuff like hopefully go to spring training. That's going to be a pretty nice chunk of change that you're going to get off of it just by becoming a diehard. So Jeff writes awesome stories that are really exclusive sometimes, puts them behind a paywall. You want to be able to read those if you are just a diehard Rangers fan or Mavs or Cowboys or Stars. We've got plenty of talent on our beats. So join today and become our very best friend.
Yeah, that diehard thing is fun. You save money, and you get exclusive access, and it's always kind of cool. And as we saw, somebody said yesterday they had the Chicago diehard card, the physical card. So you're going to get a physical card, and you'll be able to flash
They
that.
should send you like a Dallas one, though.
Yeah, well, I hope so, and they
Yeah.
will. They'll send whoever got the Chicago one. All you got to do is alert them, and they'll get you a DLLS.
Ben's
diehard
wearing the
card.
DLLS Skyline shirt today. Ben, tweet us a photo.
Yeah, we need a
Maybe we
a
can put it
photo.
in the
We need a
show.
photo. That'd be great. Because that shirt is all part of the merchandise that we are selling, and we are so excited about this merchandise. It's going to get better and better. There's some great designs out there already, some great products. The shirts are great. They're super high quality, and they have really cool designs, and we're going to get more and more of those. It's time to start ordering hoodies. And they've got those available as well. Hats are coming too. This is all stuff that's available at store.allcitynetwork.com. We ask you to avail yourself to that spot and then get yourself some merchandise and then tweet us a picture so we can share it with our audience about how good that merch really is. All right, historic postseasons, and that's what Kike Hernandez is kind of in the middle of, although, again, we talked about him a little bit at the beginning of the show. This is a guy who is basically your utility player. He's Josh Smith, not from this year, but from last year, right? The Josh Smith we remember from a year ago who played everywhere and played it all well, but is that guy who's just, that Swiss Army knife that can do a lot of different things, but isn't necessarily in the lineup every day. That's who Kike Hernandez is for this Dodgers team. And lo and behold, he has now hit 15 postseason home runs in his career. Now, granted, it's been a long and storied career, but it's one of those guys that just comes to play when it matters the most. And we've got a list of some of the names with whom he shares the glory, if you will, of being a postseason performer. And most of those guys are guys, who are stars or superstars. Corey Seager is on that list. There's a lot of guys who you expect to hit a lot of home runs. Aaron Judge is on that list, right? But Kike Hernandez to have hit 15 and tie Babe Ruth. Now, granted, Kike's had 59 more at-bats than Babe Ruth had in the postseason because, again, the postseasons were so short back then.
Yeah.
But it's still an accomplishment. It's still something I'd be telling my grandkids. I hit as many home runs in the postseason as Babe Ruth.
I'd get that tattooed on
I
my
might
body.
too.
Like, how the Olympics athletes do that?
Yep.
I would do Babe
Well,
Ruth.
Growing up, Mickey Mantle was the world, the postseason home run leader. It might have been his World Series, 18 in the World Series.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have championship series when he played. So, that's like awesome. That was always my guy. My dad was a big Mickey Mantle fan. And that stat always stood out to me. And it's like, gosh, to do that And of course, he played in a ton of World Series.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he had more opportunities than a lot of players did. But then as the playoffs expanded and there more rounds were added, you see guys who in their careers, like Derek Jeter, his postseason at bats,
Oh yeah.
it's like equals more than a season.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But nevertheless, it doesn't diminish the fact that what your point is, that guys who aren't going to the Hall of Fame, and really guys who baseball cards aren't worth anything.
No.
No. Are doing what Kike Hernandez is doing.
Yeah. And you look at some of the accomplishments that other players have made in the postseason, and MLB did a nice list of this. And the first on the list, of course, it goes in reverse chronological order, but Seager and Adolis Garcia from last year and what they accomplished last year. And of course, Corey becoming only the fourth player in MLB history to win multiple MVPs in the World Series, and that joins Reggie Jackson, Bob Gibson, and Sandy Koufax.
Right. And then, Reggie Jackson, of course, was Mr. October,
right,
for what he did in the late 70s. But yeah, he played in World Series with the A's. He wasn't just with the Yankees.
No, and that's the point there too. Again, and Kike Hernandez has played in other World Series with other teams as well. But in the case of Reggie Jackson, he was also great every day. He hit the light tower in July in an All-Star game. He was great every day. You don't think of Enrique Hernandez as that guy.
Sure.
All these guys that we're mentioning, they're great every day.
And looking at his career, he's had 2 seasons with 20 home runs. But majority, you're getting single digit for a lot of them, a few like 11, 12, 17s. But, he's not this like bomb threat, at the plate.
No.
But postseason, he seems to be. 6 postseason games in 2024, he's hitting .333, 2 home runs, 6 runs. For his career, he's now averaging a home run every 13 at-bats.
Yeah, compared to the regular season.
In the postseason.
And in the regular season, it's like 1 for every 29.
Yeah.
He only has 1 season in his career with more than 500 at-bats. So that kind of tells you he's a 300 or 400 at-bat guy. So he's a platoon guy, utility guy. He's not the everyday player. But, they're just some guys that, Nelson Cruz. Cruz hit more than 400 home runs in his career.
Yeah.
But he was a great postseason player.
Yes, he was.
Which it's like, I don't know. I think the utility player, it's a really difficult role to be in because those everyday reps are so important. And it's like, you're not bad if you're a utility player. It means your team's really good, And the fact that, you're able to maybe sit those out because, again, what do we say all the time? Rest or rust. For you to be able to come in and then be a massive player and, contribute and have clutch moments. You've got to be a pretty dang good player to have those kind of moments,
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what separates these really good teams. They have really good depth on their bench. They had, look at what Travis Jankowski did last year in the World Series. A veteran guy like Enrique, who knows how to keep his bat alive and can step in any situation. But you have a guy go down, Miguel Rojas gets hurt, and you're like, oh, geez, we have to shuffle a couple things around. We have to move Tommy Edman in to play shortstop and put Kike Enrique in center field. But, when you have quality depth, you really don't skip a beat, or it's a real small beat.
Yeah.
And that's
plug and play.
Yeah. You just kind of talk about what makes these teams great. It's not just their starting pitching or their lineup. It's that they have somebody who can step in. They have depth on their bench, guys that you trust and know are going to perform. And championship teams have great benches.
Yeah, and all you need to know about how hard it is to be a utility player is looking at Josh Smith last year compared to this year. You get those everyday at-bats, you get those reps, and you get into a rhythm. And Josh did that this year. In some ways, saved the season offensively for this Texas Rangers team.
He was my
especially at the beginning of the season. It was just unbelievable. He was everywhere. And last year, he's the same guy, but it's a really hard thing for young players to do, to be able to accomplish that kind of production when you're not playing each and every day.
I'll never forget Media Day for the World Series 2023 because nobody was people were kind of going to Josh if like who they really wanted was a little busy, and you could just see, he knew the kind of questions that he would get, and it's not like he wasn't confident in himself. He's like, not an everyday guy, like I'm here to help but it's just like to see that person and then to see the player that he's become. I mean, I really wish I would have like taken more of a video, but you didn't know that Josh Smith was going to have the 2024 that he did. But no, being a utility player is hard. It takes a shot at your ego. You kind of got to buckle up and be ready whenever. But huge props to utility guys across the league and Kike Hernandez for stepping up big.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And some of the other notable, Octobers that were just fantastic for any given player throughout the course of the league. They, of course, mentioned Randy Arozarena in that 2020 postseason. He was unbelievable for the Tampa Bay Rays that year.
Yeah, and the whole postseason he was great. Rookie year,
yeah.
He didn't have enough qualifying at bats. He was a rookie the next year and won the Rookie of the Year award.
Yeah.
So I mean, the guy that basically stepped in September. Is Ben currently at the gym listening?
Looks
to
like
us?
it. Yeah.
Tweeting between sets. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Dedicated.
I like it.
Pumping iron.
That's a solid. That's solid. But yeah. So there's always a guy that's just going to come through.
Do you want us to keep talking?
I mean, how about Bob Horry in the NBA?
Right.
Yeah. So,
No, we done?
No, keep going.
Oh, keep going. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Anyway, big shot Bob.
Yeah.
He's not a great player.
No, he's really not.
Yeah.
Throughout the regular season. And how many rings does he have?
A ton.
6, I think.
How about Larry Brown winning the MVP for the Cowboys in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Yeah.
He went to TCU, so naturally I like the guy. But man, oh man, give me a break.
Had 2 or 3 picks in that game.
2 picks.
2 picks.
Yeah. Neil
O'Donnell. Yeah. I was at that game. That was a heck of a team. That was fun.
That was in Arizona, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tempe.
Oh yeah, that was back when the newspaper was a newspaper, and they sent everybody.
Really?
We had 30 people go.
Oh, no kidding.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Not me, of course.
Yeah, that was a wild Super Bowl week, and no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So we want to talk more baseball.
All right, we got a couple more minutes.
All right. Yeah. We are good. All right.
Yeah,
Ben sent us a photo. He's wearing part of the merch. Ben is the biggest DLLS Rangers fan.
Coop and BC might have something to say.
Might.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Ben's at the gym right now.
Wow.
Tweeting
Pumping
and
iron.
watching our show. In between sets, he's tagging along.
Nice.
And we love it. Dedication like no other. Let's take a look at this merch.
Oh,
there you go.
Look at that. That is not the Skyline shirt I ordered, but I like that one.
So,
I may have to get that one too.
Coop has sent me an email. She's revealed her identity. It's Sharon Cooper. She's very active on the Twitter.
I've seen her on
I
Twitter.
interact with her. She told me to tell you guys hi and thanks
Hello.
for all the stuff that we're doing. So
very nice.
Thank you for
Coop.
always tagging along.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
We do appreciate you guys.
Coop's knowledgeable as all heck too, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So we appreciate
all these
you.
guys
Coop.
are.
Yeah, everybody is here. They're all a lot of times they're correcting us, which we do appreciate because look, we're out here talking for an hour. We have some notes, but we're trying to do a lot of it off the top of our head. So anyway, we'll make a mistake on you, and we appreciate you correcting
you guys let us
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
And we do want you to continue to like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. We're almost to 10,000 YouTube subscribers, and that's a milestone for us. That'd be something really
Big
cool.
number.
Yeah.
That really is.
It's a big number.
We've been going for less than 2 months.
Less than 2 months. It's like 10 days shy of 2 months. We were talking about it upstairs with some of the bosses, and they were saying Philly at this point, which came on the air a full year on the stream, a full year before us, is at 25,000. So if we keep going at this pace, we're going to shoot past Philly.
Yeah.
So, which I think Dallas fans want to do, right?
Yeah.
We've got to establish our dominance over Philly fans.
Remember they cheered when Michael Irvin got
They
carted
did.
off the field.
I was at that game too.
Let's stick it to them.
Right.
Yeah. And have a friendly rivalry with our Philly station.
Yeah, I like that. I was on the field too when they were throwing snowballs with batteries in them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
As the Cowboys ran off the field one time. Luckily, I didn't get.
That's tough.
The Cowboys had pads on. Us media guys who were down there for the last 5 minutes, we didn't have any pads on,
Yeah.
But I didn't get hit. They weren't trying.
Batteries is such a weird thing to put in a snowball.
Yeah, a battery.
I don't know who thought of that.
Yeah,
That's kind of expensive, too.
That's what
It
I was
is,
thinking.
yeah.
It's not really
maybe
cost
that's what
effective.
that's how they recycle batteries.
Just
and
pick
fill
up some
it.
rocks
Yeah.
or something. Come in with a pocket full of rocks.
I don't know.
Yeah, the closest I think I've ever I did get hit by a foul ball once I was on the field during a spring game, and a foul ball bounced and hit me. But I almost got hit by an orange once.
It would have been ugly. Yeah.
Because I was covering the Big 12 championship game in Oklahoma. If they won, would go to the Orange Bowl, and they won, and some oranges were being thrown onto the field there at the end of the game as we waited for the.
At least that makes
Nice.
sense.
Yeah.
Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
I
Orange.
was doing a stand up, we call it in TV. I was doing a stand up at the University of Michigan very early in my career, right on the field, 100,000 people up there in the big house, whatever, stand up, whatever. And luckily I got this big helmet hair, but somebody throws and an apple core hits me
gross.
right on top of the head. And I look up with disgust, like, and again, it was a taped stand-up, so I got to go back and look at it. I'm disgusted, like, you idiot, or whatever I said. But then I was thinking about it later. That dude and his buddy, like, he put $5, bet you can't hit that guy right on top of his head. Bet you I can. He threw it. They were celebrating. They were drinking beer.
Yeah.
I hit that guy right on top of his head. You know? So that's, again, you got to laugh at it. I wasn't happy then.
You gotta laugh.
Yeah.
Laugh
yeah.
or you cry. Drake
Yeah.
made a song about it.
Yeah.
Laugh now, cry later.
That's right. So, speaking of that, did you know that going back to baseball, taking it back to baseball, did you know that Kike has changed his walk-up song?
What is it?
He's using Bad Bunny's Mr. October.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well,
how about
Kike,
that?
Kike
So
seems to have a little bit of an ego.
I thought about having the DJ of the Rangers on one day to talk about just that whole
stats. Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Because I find it interesting.
He's the Do It for Dirt DJ.
Yeah.
So he'll be
And
able to do it for Dirt.
You
too.
would be surprised at the person that changed their walk up the most. We'll let him
Okay.
say.
We'll let him
but,
reveal. Yeah, we're going to get into guests, too, during the course of the program. We've got a lot to talk about with all the games going on right now, but we're going to begin mixing
We're going to get in
in
the dog days of
quite a few
off-season.
guests.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No
Yeah,
doubt.
let us know who you guys would like to see. These guys have a lot of pull. They know a lot of cool guys. I'm just here.
No, please. Abs will get plenty of people on here for us as
But,
well.
He's
So.
got our only guest.
We
So
Yep, that's
we
right.
want to bring a lot of people on, so it'll be fun.
Yep. All right. So I guess that'll do it. We might have had about 5 minutes where we were struggling with some technical difficulties, but we've made that up. More than made that up on the backside here. So thanks for hanging with us today. We appreciate you as always. We're back in the normal time slot tomorrow. Back at 1 o'clock tomorrow. It'll be a Friday edition, and we'll be talking about a doubleheader of CS action today. So join us tomorrow for another edition of the DLLS Rangers Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.